Alrighty, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Welcome back everybody to Planescape Torment, where last time we managed to get out of the mortuary, and we are now in the Hive, the slums of the city, which the name actually currently escapes me. We are looking for a man named Farad, and we have a few things that we also still want to accomplish in some capacity. We have talked to Pox over here, and Pox has told us that Sharegrave, his boss, actually may know where Farad is, since he's kind of a collector like Farad, but presumably a bit more of the...
Being watched, Chief. Just look natural. Casual.
presumably a bit more of the friendly kind. Or we could also look for one of the dustmen in the bar. So we're just gonna walk in a random direction and see what happens. Alright, the city of the name of the city is called Sigil. Thank you. I'm not free of the mortuary.
Alright.
I think last time I was told that I should talk to the Dabus. Hello. You see a tall creature with a shock of white hair. Its skin has a greenish cast and a pair of goat horns protrude from its forehead. It is dressed in long flowing robes and appears to be floating slightly above the ground. Greetings. The creature turns to face you and a series of symbols appear around its head. The symbols have a slight glow about them and they just hover there. And Mort goes... Oh, for the power's sake, Peking Dabus. What's wrong? He's a Dabus. They speak in rebuses, these annoying word puzzles. If you don't know what he's saying, then we better find a native or some other way to communicate with him, if we want to. An annoying bunch, my bet. They can speak, they just would rather piss everyone else off by trying to puzzle out what they're saying. What's a Dabus? Chant is their janitors for the Lady of Pain. They float around breaking, fixing, and patching up Sigil according to her whims. They're worse than corpse flies. Mort sighs. You can't swat them, though, or the lady'll get upset. The Lady of Pain? Who's that? She runs the city. You'll know if you see her. She's got the blades around her face. She's about the size of a giant, and she floats off the ground, just like these guys. Mort nods at Dabus, who's looking at you both. Nobody knows much about her. She doesn't speak much at all. All you need to know is that you don't want to make her angry. If you see her, my advice, run. I see. The Dabus waits patiently, its hands tucked into its sleeves. A series of symbols materialize above its head, and then they vanish, and a question mark appears. Try to strike up a conversation and see if you can translate what the Dabus is saying. In 1,000 experience. You ask the Dabus several questions, trying to get a feel for the rebuses that appear above its head. It is extremely patient throughout your discussion, giving you easy sentences to translate. After a few minutes, you start to get the hang of it. It feels like you've done this before. Maybe you can help me. The Dabus waits. Who are you? The Dabus inclines his head slightly, and a stream of symbols appears above his head. I am a Dabus. Well, I have more questions for you, my friend. What are you doing? A batch of symbols appears above the Dabus' head. I attend to my duties. Alright, and can you tell me about the Lady of Pain? A lone symbol appears above the Dabus' head. This one shows a metallic female mask with blades coming out of the sides. Just looking at the ghastly image makes you uncomfortable. Well, that's all I wanted to know. Farewell. The Dabus bows slightly. Symbols swirl around its head, then it turns away. Now it's hammering me instead of the wall. Well, that's interesting. Vines with black leaves, the stems look extremely sharp. Alright. Have you tried the King's Quest series before? I have played King's Quest 6 or 7, the one where you have the old lady running around in the desert. I've never gotten far though. It's an also only limited. Frightened Hive Dweller. What's up with you? You see a man in tattered clothing. As you approach him, he suddenly stops and begins to look around, frightened. Greetings. The man looks startled, then takes a step back. Hey? What do you want, Cutter? His voice is shaky, and he seems taken aback by your scars. I have nothing on me. I don't. My rags are not worth the trouble. Calm yourself. I'm not here to rob you. I had some questions. He keeps a safe distance, and his eyes dart from side to side, as if expecting something to step out of the shadows. Questions, he said. And, what might those questions be? Can you tell me about this city? What do you want to know about Sigil, then? What is this place? The city of doors. The cage. Place where all the doors lead and come from. Center of the plains, and gets most of the backwash from all the places too. Some say this is where everybody ends up at one point or another. The city of doors, huh? Aye. You see, Cutter, the city is. He frowns, as if struggling with the words. The city's got a batch of doors scattered throughout it, and you see, the doors. He frowns, then again sighs. The doors? Let me rattle my bone box with a little more sense. You see, there's doors all over Sigil. But they don't always look like doors. They're more like portals, see? And they can be just about anything. A window, a frame, or a picture frame. An archway, a barrel hoop, a space between table's legs or a statue's legs. And you're saying all these things are doors. He frowns again. Doors, portals, can be anything. That's closed on all sides. It's hard to tell you where they are, unless you get the key to the door. That's how you get here, Cutter. Through a door. What makes you say that? Well, you don't look like you're from around Sigil, see? What are these keys you mentioned? Each door gets a key, which makes it open, see? Most time, you won't even know what doors are around you, unless you got the key. Then the door opens and you can step through and take your chances. Trick is, you know, how I was saying that the doors can be anything? Well, so can keys. There could be a tune you hum to yourself near the door, a thought you'd be having about pastries, or a little check you do. Maybe the key is on an object like a piece of glass, or a cobblestone, or a broken tooth. Anything. I see. That sounds pretty confusing. Yeah, get used to it. You do? Where do all these doors in the city go to? He shrugs. Doors can go anywhere, Cutter. Some don't even lead to the same place twice. You see, such is the way a number of the doors that they lead to almost anywhere in the plains. Anywhere. It's just that there are so damn many of them, it's hard to finding one that takes you right where you want to go. And you said these doors have keys. Oh, he says the same thing again. Alright. I have some other questions. Can you tell me about Sigil? The city of doors. Oh, okay, he says the same thing. Can you tell me about your slums? Eh? He looks at you warily, and his brow furrows in confusion. What do you want to know about the Hive, Cutter? Why is it called the Hive? He looks puzzled. I don't know. He looks frightened, and he doesn't know the answer. Mr. Streets, Mr. People, mayhap. What's around here of interest? It, depends. Depends on what you find interesting, Cutter. Let's see. I'm looking for someone named Farrod. Name's not one I know, Cutter. Who is he? He's a collector, I think. He thinks. Well, then, he most likely has his kip in Rackpicker Square, then. You might want to look there. During the day, that is not a nice place at night. Alright, Rackpicker Square for collectors. Where is that ragpicker square located? It's a few blocks from here. Go west from the mortuary as far as you can go, and you'll run into it. Careful when you go around there, though, Cutter. The collectors there don't always wait for a body to die before collecting them, eh? Got it, thanks. Let me make sure to write that down real quick. The Ragek Square, he said. Ragpicker Square. Ragpicker Square for potentially collectors. Alright, and Lady of... Can you tell me about the Lady of Pain? I just kind of want to get a sense of what the regular folks around here think of her. The Mistress of Sigil? You've not heard of her? You must be blessed or more know little about Sigil indeed. He laughs weakly. Lady's words lie here in Sigil. He thinks for a moment. Except she don't say much. That silent she is, actually. Some law. He looks at you warily. Don't want to be talking too much about her, Cutter. You don't want to cross her shadow nor be singing her praises, alright? Now let's say no more about it. Rattling your bone box about the lady is a dim-dim, indeed. Alright, fair enough. I guess that's it. Thank you very much. Eh? He licks his lips as to turn to leave. Cutter, you might think, yeah. He studies you for a moment. You could spare a few coppers for a blood who helped you on your way? Not many around here do that for a fella. Enough for a man to wet his tongue after all the talking, eh? Sure. I'll give you 5 coppers. He glances around to see if anyone saw the exchange, then tucks the jinx and hit the folds of his robe. Thank you kindly, Cutter. May the lady's shadow pass you by. Farewell. To be fair, I don't know how much 5 copper is in these places, so... There's that too. Let's save. We have gone barely anywhere, but I feel like we've already done a lot. There's a place to go inside here. This obsidian wall has 1,000 names carved into it. What is this place? Probably the names of the deceased? Seftai, Elderly Hive Dweller, Quentin, Death of Names. This guy sounds interesting. You see a dustman with a crooked smile frozen on his face. Despite the smile, his eyes are as dull as stones. His right arm is shorter than the left, and he keeps it tucked to his side, as if cradling a small child. Greetings. The dustman's eyes slide over to you. Name. The way he speaks the word, it sounded like the rolling of a bell. I don't know. No name, can't help you. The dustman speaks in a curious sing-song voice. Need to give a name if you want to see where it's died. What?
Updated my journal.
Given a name when you're born, give it back when you need it no more. Death of names, death of names. His eyes swim across the monolith, then the walls of the area. Buried many names here, death of names has. Tell me a name, and I'll show its grave. Dionara. His eyes roll to the back of his head, then pop back. With a wild gleam, his eyes run across the walls of the monument, scanning the names at inhuman speed, then points at a section of a wall. Buried. Examine the spot he is pointing at. Chiseled into the black stone, in tiny cramped writing, is the name you requested. It is almost lost beneath the sea of names around it. So we have basically the quest to save Dionara. I don't know whether it will be possible to revive her in some capacity, and that's saving her, or giving her, well, the final piece in some capacity. So maybe burying her name will be what we want to do. But I'm not gonna do that yet. I'll want to look around first. I had another name. Alright. Tell me about Dahl. He shakes his head. Not dead yet. That name is not buried here. Not time. Not time. Alright. It also probably implies that all the names are unique. Very well. Sorry to disturb you. My poor sisters. Here we have Seftai. This appears to be a tiefling. This woman's face looks broken, and she is covered in scars. They look like bite marks and fingernail cuts. She is cradling the shreds of several rags in her hands and is staring emptily at the wall of the monument at the names here. Greetings. St! Get you back! The woman's teeth peel back, displaying a row of black canines. What do you want of Seftai? What's the matter? What's wrong? Those Chaos men wrecked my cart, attacked me and killed 3 of my sisters, who tried to stop them. Not sisters anymore. No, there is nothing but names on this memorial wall. Chaosmen? Chaosmen, a faction, they say. When they are is an adult bunch that runs wild through the Hive. Oh, what they are is an adult bunch that runs wild through the Hive and does whatever they please. We never did no harm to them. Then they lope in like dogs and tear apart anything within their reach. Well, who are these chaosmen that attacked you? They're a Hive gang, a bunch of adult sots that call themselves the Starved Dogs Barking, or some such barmy nonsense. I'm still trying to figure out who I am. But then again, who I am is what I do now. This will define me. So if I'm looking for coin, I want to be basically somebody who goes and dishes out justice. Quote-unquote justice, potentially. Might be misleading. Sure, why not? Their actions were unjust. If you wish, I can see that the matter is rectified. If 3 deaths they caused, then 3 deaths shall see these starved dogs suffer. A copper earring in your purse if you pen 3 of those murdering sots in the dead dog jig. I'll see that they're put in the dead book. Can you tell me where they might be found? Go out the south gate, spider it from there, then walk around the block until it comes to a place where the men run in circles, howling at the big sky. There's the starved dogs they are. I'll go look for them. Alright. Kill 3 starved dogs. Oh. I'm just gonna write that down.
Hey, we're being watched, Chief. Just look natural. Casual.
Then, who else do we have? Elderly Hive Dweller. Hello. A sense of great loss hangs over this elderly woman like a dark cloak. As you watch her, a long, sad sigh escapes her lips. Greetings. She looks up at your face, cloudy eyes squinting and straining to see you clearly. Forgive me, young cutter, but I'm an old woman and I don't see so well. Do I know you? Perhaps, but I don't know you. She mulls your answer over for a moment, nodding. What was it you wanted, then? I have some questions. Questions? Her expression curls. Oh no. You're an adventurer, aren't you? Name, job, and all that rot, eh? Well, I won't have it off with you. No, I'm not. Not really, at least. Bar that! The woman jabs her finger at you. I've watched the dustman put the name on me husband, damn his soul, me son, and both me others on their memorials, adventures, all of them. Why, I swung a quite a sword myself in the days, as I know one when I meets one. The old woman seems to be working herself into a fit. Her first face has become flushed and flecks of spittle fly from her lips as she howls at you. Let her continue her tirade. I'll bet you've got all the sorts of barmy questions. She mimics your heroic stance. Greetings, I have some questions. Can you tell me about this place? Who's the Lady of Pain? I'm looking for magic girdle, a swank iron. Have you seen it? Do you know where a portal to the 2117th plane of the abyss might be? Do you know where the holy flame in frostbrand, gronk sling, vorpal hammer, or wounding and returning and shooting lightning out of your bum is? She spits dung all at it. Holy gets his in your dead book. I ought to kick you in the shins for ever pestering a poor old woman about it all. Now go away and leave me in peace. Well, I'm kind of curious whether she actually has anything interesting in these. Basically, it feels like her tirade went on to be like regular questions, and then more and more about crazy things. Like, for all I know, magic girdle of swank iron might be a real thing. The portal to the 2817th plane might be the most interesting thing about this, I guess, but it's probably just a random number. Does totally sound like diag options like you could see in the game? It does. Here's Quentin. Who are you, sir? The man before you looks to be middle of height and years. He is stout with a thick bullish neck, and his shoulders are hunched as if a great weight was pressing upon them. He bears an impatient look as he stares at the black monolith in front of him. Greetings. The man throws you at a glance. There's room, Cutter. No need to ask me to leave no stand here. Actually, I wanted to know what this monolith was. The tombstone for the plains, he scoffs. Graveyards of names are scratched onto that rock. Can only hope my name is the one that'll spit this stone in twain. He points at the base of the monolith. Quentin right there, hammered in just hard enough to send the damn thing crashing down. Tombstone for plains. Aye. Quentin smiles ruefully. The dust is crushed the leaves of the dead of this monument here. He gestures around him. And on the walls of this place, not enough space by my reckoning, but no matter, they do their best, can barely read half the names. What are you doing here? Reading the new arrivals, try and find a new one every day, try to remember if I knew him, nothing more. The dustmen record the names of all that have died on this monument. Aye, they scratch them on this rock, and scratch them on the walls in this place too. Quentin scoffs. I don't know why they take the trouble to take accounting of the dead. The Dusties have more to care for the living. The living? Aye, you know, the dustmen, mourners that come to this place, they aren't mourning the dead, you see. They're mourning the living. You can barely get a word at them edgewise without them asking to mourn some poor living birth for you. Why do they mourn the living? You got me there, Cutter, he shrugs. Might want to put some of the questions to them. Seems to me the dead are thrice worth the pity of any poor sod living in this pit. He nods at the monument. Every name there is a blessed in my book, it is. Ever know anybody who came back after their name was put on there? You mean, come back from death? Quentin shakes his head. Not one, Cutter. Everything that lives dies. And that's the way of things. He shrugs. Still, considering the place gone forever now, I suppose anything's possible. I suppose so. Can you tell me who that crazy dustman is on the other side of the monolith? Quentin smirks. Not the sadist burn in the cackle house, is he? That barm is name's deaf of names, Quentin scoffs, though deaf of sense might pair him better. What does he do here? He's the keeper of the memorial area, knows where all the names are around here, and he can point one out if you need him to. He's a little addled, to be sure, but he's helped me a few times. He shrugs. He's also got the duty of carving new names in when their owners pass on. I see. Thanks. Well, lots of places, many things to go. There's some Hive thugs, angry Hive dwellers. Before we talk to the Hive thug, let's just save the game, I suppose. You see a heavy-set-looking man. He has a stone-faced expression. Greetings. The man looks at you for a moment, grunts, then raises his hand, revealing a wicked dagger. He smiles evilly and begins twirling it in his menacing arc. Farewell. Well, and he attacks me. Took 2 damage, but you know what? I think we're gonna be just fine, probably. Alrighty, and he had 5 commons on him. Oh. Too bad. I've tout. What's a tout? Do I want to know? This smiling middle-aged woman trots up to you and curtsy. Lo, sir, and well met. For merely a single copper common, I can offer me service as a tout. Same as I can point out for you. What's a tout? The woman looks at you skeptically, then shrugs. A tout's a guide of sorts, sir. I can help you around this part of hiving, I can. Alright, here's a copper piece. The woman palms the coin and curtsies. This part of the Hive has gates leading to west-south locations. What to note, including the mortuary, the gathering dust bar, and the dust memorial, and the mausoleum. I'd also recommend you stay away from a particular alley that leads southwest is full of dangerous thugs. Alright, where's the gathering's dust bar? Tis in the southwest corner of this area. A dome-shaped building whose door faces southeast. The gathering dust ones are the safer, more quiet havens in the Hive. Alright, and where's the mausoleum? Doesn't cost me any more copper coins, apparently. The mausoleum is in the northwest corner of this area. Big old square tower-looking building it is. This one? Alright, that's all. Thank you. Yep, that's literally right, this one. Fair enough. I feel like the Hive thugs are all going to say the same, so I'm just gonna not worry about these clowns. Apparently there's no way to go here. This is the mausoleum, but no place to exit, it appears. More Hive thugs. I healed for 1. This game cannot be saved while hostile creatures are nearby. Well, it turns out this guy just becomes aggressive automatically. Well, just gonna punch all of them. Now he's running away.
Did you see that?
And that guy's running away. And I'm just gonna run after them. You know, you punch me, I punch you. I don't initially attack anybody unless I have to. There's a bronze ring. Let's see where the other clones are. There we go. And I heal up automatically, apparently. 6 damage from it, though. 3 commons. Oh. And this one, near death thug. I feel like they are just gonna respawn anyway. It's bronze bracelet, but it's technically a way to get money, I guess. Alright, I just wanted to see what's in here. Alrighty. Let's move in. Small dwelling. Spell goes something like this. Shilandra. Hello, who might you be? Blast, I almost had it that time. Don't you know it's dangerous to interrupt spellcasters while they are evoking spells? Luckily for you, I was only practicing. Well, what is it you want? My apologies for disturbing you. Farewell. Apparently I don't want anything. We found somebody named Shilandra. I will assume that grabbing this is out of the question because it's not mine. You're gonna be aggressive if I go here? Apparently not. There's also apparently nothing else here. Okay, the thugs haven't respawned yet. Let's see what else we can do around here. Oh, that's the Dustman bar, isn't it? True death awaits. Let's see. We're looking for one particular Dustman in here. Wait, no, that's the Mausoleum. I'm forgetting things. Bean Descender. Bane. You see a heavy-set man with sharp features and a pained expression. Despite his huge frame, however, he has an effeminate look about him, and unlike the other residents you've seen, he looks to have bathed recently. As you approach, he looks up hopefully and calls out in a high voice, "Craddock? Good sir?" What? Eh? His hopeful expression dies as he studies your face. "1,000 apologies, good sir. If I have given offense." He gives a slight bow. "I am called Bane, Descender, a third child of Bane, Descender. I am one of the many runners in the employ of the House of Senders." No apologies necessary, Bane. What do you want? 1,000 apologies for troubling you with such a trivial matter, but I seek Craddock, an overseer in the Hive. Bane looks like he is in pain, but alas, he eludes me. He looks at you hopefully again. Could it be you have heard of such a man? I'm sorry, I haven't. Bane gives a deep sigh. I am bound to deliver a message to him, and as yet, fortune has chosen not to favor me. I could help you. If I come across the man, I could pass along your message. Bane's face lights up like a lantern. Oh, fortunate day for Bane and the House of Descenders. Any assistance you could provide would be most welcome. If you can find this Craddock and pass along the message, I shall see to it you're paid for your travels. Alright, what's the message? Bane recites the message almost like a mantra. The shipment must be incursed by the 3rd day, or there will be a penalty. Bane frowns. I am told that Craddock will know of the shipment to which the message pertains. If I see Craddock, I will pass along the message. Is there anything you can tell me about him before I go that might help me find him? He's said to be a giant of a man, stern of features, that he is an overseer in one of the Hive marketplaces. Alas, I know little else than that, good sir. I see, that's good enough for me now. Bane bows. Thank you, sir. Should fortune favor you and you are able to bear the message to Craddock, be so kind as to return and tell me of it. I will see to it your efforts are rewarded. Very well.
Updated my journal.
Farewell, Bane. Alrighty. You find the Bane there? Wait, no. Craddock. The post. You look like a zombie. This filthy looking corpse is in sad shape. Its shoulders are slumped and one of its legs is broken, causing it to lean to one side. Stains cover it from head to toe. Judging from the smell and texture, the stains run from rotten fruit to mud and bird droppings. To add to the indignity, graffiti has been carved into its body, and several notices have been nailed to its chest, back and head. Well, I thought I was in bad shape. Don't all those nails hurt? The corpse makes no response. Let's examine it. Despite the many stitches, the corpse's rotting skin is peeling in several places, revealing long stretches of muscle and bone. You'd guess that this zombie is frequently used as target practice. The fruit and mud stains, aside from some of the tears in the skin, still have rocks and bits of glass lodged in them. One wicked-looking cobblestone is still embedded in the side of its head. Examine the graffiti and notices. A number of the leaflets have been ruined by rain, but some of them are still legible. One tacked to his back is from something called the Office of Vermin and Disease Control. The one on his forehead looks like a bill of fare for a restaurant. One on his chest looks like an official note, and another appears to be some sort of want ad. Okay, look at the Post Office of Vermin and Disease Control. To those Hive citizens wishing gainful employ with the most honorable and generous sigil government, inquire forthwith at the Office of Vermin and Disease Control to help stem plague to brain rats. Bounty is paid. Copper given for each rat tail brought. Tails must be genuine and from rat only. No cat, dog or fiend tail accepted. Office several streets south and the west of Mortuary Gate in Lower Hive. Ask for official inspector in charge, the respected Phineas T. Lord, the 39th. Right, what about the other notices? Examine the bill of fare. Someone has posted a bill of fare for the Gathering Dust Bar, but the bill of fare cannot be read as the words Smoldering Corpse Bar have been scrawled in charcoal over the bill. Smoldering Corpse Bar. The zombie immediately jerks his arm upwards and points to the southeast. A moment later, the arm falls back to its side with a thump. Oh, he is somebody to be dead. Reminds me of a job I once had. He seems embarrassed. Well, I mean, without the arms. I wonder if this could work with the other notices. And Vermin of Disease Control probably already tells me. Oh wait. The zombie immediately jerks his left arm upwards and points to southwest. A moment later. Okay, so basically southwest is Vermin Disease Control. Let's look at the official notice. Public notice. By the order of the judiciary? I don't know how to pronounce that. By the order of the Judiciary Council and in accordance with the citizenry of Sigil, let it be known, those defacing a registered servant of the Dustman, either by graffiti, malicious attacks, or by posting notices will constitute felonious assault, and the perpetrator will be answerable for the vandalism of said servant, by the order of Hall of Speakers. Yeah. You tried. Examine the want ad. Wanted. Able-bodied person willing to investigate a matter of the utmost importance to the Dustman cause. Will offer suitable compensation upon successful completion of said task. Interested parties inquire with the initiate Norog. Gathering Dust Bar. Gathering Dust Bar. And he tells me where it is. Alright, and examine the corpse. Pry out the cobblestone. Oh, that actually gives me experience. You grab a hold of the cobblestone and pull it out of the corpse's head. Traces of brain matter and rotting flesh slowly drip from it. It looks like whatever was in its head turned to ooze long ago. Anything else to examine? Nope, that's it. Alrighty, so here's just kind of a place to go. What are you doing here, harlot? You see a tired-looking woman dressed in a tight leather bodice and leggings. The odor of cheap perfume surrounds her like a cloud, and her face is covered with a mask of crude makeup. She smiles as she sees you. Why don't you stay and chat with me a bit, love? Greetings. The woman looks coyly at you. Now you look to be a blood who's lost something. Mayhap I can help you find it, Cutter. She smiles slightly. Oh? What good fortune! We probably lost what we're looking for back at your kip, miss. I'm not missing anything, but I did have some questions. The woman frowns. I'm not a tout. She frowns, then rubs two fingers together. Unless you've got some jink to pay you for time. I can pay you. How much? 10 coppers. Other questions of a deeper chant will cost you more. Never mind. Here, lass. When you get tired of losing things and need to find some things, love, come to see me. I'll keep that in mind. Farewell. Chief, can you sport me some jink? It's, hey, been a long time it is. I'm not going to ask you how you intend to accomplish this. One breaks in. It's supposed to cost for a mimir or any other degenerate. Mimir. Mimir's a talking encyclopedia. That's me, Chief. Interesting. That first response. I'm not gonna choose it, but... Well, don't sweat it, Mort. From the looks of her, I'm probably saving you from dying twice. No, let's just get out of here. Farewell, miss. Well, that's certainly interesting. Hello, Anna.
Hike off.
You see a striking red-haired girl dressed in leather armor. Her right arm is covered with a series of interlocking plates that look as if they were taken from the skin of some creature, and a horn shoulder piece protects her left arm. Oddly enough, she has a tail that is flicking back and forth as you watch. Pike off! Greetings. The girl ignores you. I'm looking for someone named Farrod. You know where I can find him. Aye, I might. I might say more if you sweeten the question, eh? She clicks her tongue and rubs two fingers together. Chink chink, eh? Chink chink. She means money. Oh. Aye. She glances at Morton and shrugs. What the skull said, hard coin. Alright, how much? How much is it to you? You know it? She studies you, then folds her arms. Come on, I haven't got all day, I haven't. How about 20? Aye, alright then. She pockets the money. It's gone so quickly you have no idea where it vanished to. Look for him in the alley spireward from the mortuary. That's to the south and west of the mortuary, aye? Very well.
I've never seen something so
Well,
ugly
I
as that.
suppose I technically already knew that. That was 20 copper coins invested.
Slow cigarette.
No good reason, realistically. But at the same time, I don't know that beforehand, so... We live and we learn. So this is the open tomb, gathering dust bar, Dustman Monument, Mausoleum, Shilandra's Kip. Kinda curious that I can't go into the Mausoleum, I guess. Let's see, let's go into the open tomb. Is that a bar or something? Nope, it's literally a tomb. Let's see, the sarcophagus appears to be here for centuries. There is no lid. The exterior seems to be made of solid stone.
Done.
This brazier has long since run dry of oil, only ashes remain in the bottom. Okay, and we have something here on the ground. Pen's note. This note has been written with remarkable penmanship upon the finest parchment. Vaxus, if you are reading this, then you have undoubtedly failed in your task and have been forced to use the escape route I arranged. I told you that your little disguise idea was ridiculous. In any case, you'll need to lay low for a while. The dustmen may be deluded, but they are not fools, and they will certainly seek retribution for our intrusion. I've left you some coins. Use them to secure a hiding place in the Hive, preferably in Rackpicker Square. The dustmen will be unwilling to look for you there. Once you have secured a new hiding place, I have a new mission for you. Find out where Farrod is getting those bodies he's delivering to the mortuary. It's apparently causing the dustmen a great deal of upset, and I wouldn't mind knowing myself. Reports are that that stone-faced dustman of the Gathering Dust Bar, Initiate Emmerich, I think is the fool's name, has been sending out finders to try and mark Farrod's movements. See if you can find out how far along he is and hinder his efforts until we know more about Farrod's activities. I don't want Emmerich finding out something before we do. pen. Why is that paused? Alright, I actually feel like I should just leave that here. This kind of implies there is an entrance to the Dustman place in here. Well, let me actually write that down. And I kind of want to leave the money here and probably, hopefully, find that guy who is eventually going to run out of here. Like 80 money seems to be a lot right now, but I also feel like it's not that big of a deal to just leave it here. Alrighty. What's the name of the dude? Vaxis. Where is he supposed to go? Hide in the Rackpicker Square. Alright. He was the dude flying zombie. Alrighty. Let's see what else we can find around here. Definitely interesting that there is an entrance around here, but I have no way to spot it right now.
Done.
What else can we find? Over here we have Engyar's house. Who Engyar is, we have no idea. Small dwelling. Wife of Engyar. Right. Hello, who might you be, sir? Oh, there's Engyar. This woman looks to be in her middle years, and her hair has streaks of grey running through it. Lines of worry crisscross her face, and she sees you. She seems to torn between asking you to leave and calling for the man at the table. I'll leave her alone for now, sorry. Hello. This man looks haunted. His eyes are half-lidded, as if he has had trouble sleeping, and his hair is long and unkempt. His beard is flecked with bits of dead skin and old bits of food. He doesn't seem to notice you as you approach. Greetings. The man glances up at the sound of your voice, and his slack expression vanishes. It looks like someone has lit 2 fires in his eyes. What be your business bargain into me house? His eyes narrow, and his teeth clench. Get, or I'll send you back to wherever grave you crawl from. Calm yourself, I had some questions. The man's face turns blood red, and he begins shouting, Are you daft? With a snarl, he spits at your feet. You filthy, scar-ridden dog! Off with you, or even the powers won't be able to save your hide. Very well then. The man throws a parting shot at your back. You'd best never cross my door again, you stinking wretch stinking bastard. Leave without another word. Let's see. Greetings. You'd best leave, for I call my husband. He won't take kindly to you haven't budged your way into our home. If you were going to call him, you would have already done so. I have some questions for you. She glances towards her husband. Worry in her eyes. I have not the time, stranger. Not be troubling me with such things. Are you? All right. Me? She seems surprised. Oh, yeah. She lowers her voice. You'd best leave. Me husband has not been himself of late. You'd best not provoke him with your presence. I spoke with him. He seems troubled. What's wrong with him? He's been out sorts of late. A touch of the cough, maybe. She gives an unconvincing half shrug. What's really wrong with him? I think he's done something he regrets. Her worried expression melts into despair. I think he signed one of the debt contracts. I cannot imagine what possessed him to do such a foolish thing. Debt contracts. The dead, the dustmen, have contracts that give them the right to someone's body after they die. What do the dustmen do with a body after death? Animate it with their black magics, turn it into one of the walking dead, make it a worker till... She looks at her husband, helplessly, till it rots away. Why did your husband sign such a thing? He may have been got eager to bring home some more jink than custom. He's prideful, and I think he's hurt himself more by doing so. Can this contract be undone? She looks at you, surprised, then sighs. I've tried. I've spoken to the dustman you're designing with, but he's cold and chill, like all the dusties. He even lectured me and my husband, as if I had no right to try and help him. Her lips become tight, a tight thin line, as if picturing the dustman's face. He was cold and cruel, he was. Let me see what I can do. Who was the dustman your husband signed the contract with? The dusties call himself Gravesend. I know not his first name. He has a table at the dustman bar in the Hive, gathering dust. I believe the place is named. You can most likely find him there, trying to get more people to sign his contracts. I'll seek him out. Where is this gathering dust bar?
Updated my journal.
Head out the street outside, go to the memorial stone, then head south and west from there. She taps her finger against her chin. You should run right into it. There's one of them. Her face wrinkles in disgust. Walking corpses out in front. Very well, I'll go and see what I can do. I won't turn away such a friendly gesture. She seems grateful. Then her worried expression returns. But I must ask you not to let on I ask you to do such a thing. My husband has a terrible temper, and if he were to find out, she shudders. Ah. Sure. I promise that your husband will not find out. I vow. Thank you, stranger. I appreciate your help. It's no trouble. I'll go see about undoing your husband's contract now. Alright, well that's certainly some trouble. And Gravesend it is. Let's see what he wants. Hey, another Dabu. Or Dabus. Greetings. Ah, never mind then. I would assume they all say the same thing until I have something else to say to them. Probably. Alright. Now, let's go to the bar, shall we?
Chief, what are we doing in here? Let's say we just give this place the laugh, alright?
Mort doesn't want to be in here apparently. Zombie workers. They're the skeptic, Dustman, Norochi. More zombie workers. Let's see.
Gone.
We're looking for Gravesend and Emorek. Emorek is over there. I don't see Gravesend though. Maybe one of the unnamed ones. Let's talk to Emorek first. Zombie bodyguard. The zombie gazes at you with vacant eyes. His lips have been stitched closed and bandages are wrapped several places around his body. The faint smell of alcohol emanates from the body. Oh, let's just leave it, I guess. Can we just pick up stuff here? Apparently. This is a jukebox. This looks like a mirror, but there's no reflection of the bar in it. What? Why does it look like a mirror then? Weird. Alright, hi Emmerich, how are you doing today? You see a heavy-set man with dark skin and grim features. He is dressed in dustman robes and is regarding you with a stony gaze. Greetings. You have the look of one lost. The man's voice is like stone settling. Did the wind send you, or are you here with purpose? Who are you? I am Emmerich, factotum and initiate for the fourth circle. Is this your bar? If you measure ownership in copper, this is not my establishment. If you measure ownership in spirit, it is mine. He pauses, as if trying to emphasize a point. The dustmen here are my students. They are under my protection. Can I ask you some questions? Emmerich waits. Oh, you can try to join the Dustman faction? Strange. I am searching for a man named Farad. Have you seen him? I would know why you seek the collector Farad. He stole something from me, almost certainly at least. Emmerich remains silent. His gaze is unnerving. He doesn't seem to blink. Why do you want to know my business with Farad? The Collector Farad has brought many corpses to the mortuary of late. One must ask where these bodies come from. Well, perhaps I could find out where these bodies are from. How would you do such a thing? I would track down Farad and ask him. If you spoke with the Collector Farad and returned with his answers, you will have done a great service for the Dustmen. Find where the dead brings to us are from, and you will be rewarded. Very well, I will find Farad and speak to him, and find out where these dead bodies he brings to you are from. Yes, well, I would want to know too. Emmerich nods. Your path is our path. Return here when you have Collector Farad's answers. Well, can you tell me where he is? It is not known to me where the Collector Farad is. He hides from the eyes of the Dustmen. I would seek other collectors and ask them your question. Very well, I have other questions though. Emmerich waits. No, I'm not gonna ask anything else. Actually, no, what is the Dustman faction in his eyes? Can you tell me about the Dustman faction? Dustmen seek the true death. Some call it oblivion, but this is incorrect. To Dustmen, the true death is freedom from the chains of this false life. That had slipped to my mind. Very well. Well, I suppose I already knew that. I was just kind of curious whether he has something else to say. And Eldrest! Holy cow. Happy Thursday, Friday, everybody. Eldrest, thank you so much for 6 years. 72 months of support. You know that's a crazy long time, right? Welcome back, and I'm glad you enjoy your stay. I hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. Time flies indeed. Happy Thursday and Friday. These gates are made of featureless black metal. There doesn't appear to be any way to open them. More dustmen around here. One of them must be Gravesend, right? It's probably a male one, though. You see a somber, pale-faced dustman in black robes. She's staring silently into her drink. Greetings. The dustman looks up. Yes? Can I ask you some questions? Not at this time. The dustman becomes silent and turns back to her drink. Very well then. There. Alright. Greetings. Can I ask you some questions? Not at this time, and same answer. Let's see. Nothing in here. Greetings, can I ask you some questions? Not at this time. Oh, Mortai Gravesend is right here. Kinda missed him until now. This tiny, wizened man is dwarfed by his huge dustman robes. They look as if they were chosen to cloak his small stature. Although he looks to be in his late 90s, this man is extremely energetic. He fidgets continuously and his eyes dart around the bar like a bird's. Greetings. The man's eyes gleam as he takes your measure, and he gives a slight nod in greeting. Hail and well met, traveler. You look like one who is just getting their sigil legs about them. He trails off. Pardon me. Have we met before? Your face seems familiar somehow. Possibly. Are you certain it was me? Maybe I was mistaken. Mortai shakes his head. Well, no matter, no matter. How is it that Mortai Gravesend may help you? Do you seek... He clucks his tongue as he speaks. The contract, perhaps? Mortai Gravesend. Are you the dustman who signed the contract with Engyar? Mortai frowns. He looks puzzled. Mayhap. He thinks for a moment. I do not recall that name, however. I would like to settle that contract. Mortai looks wary. I'm afraid that is impossible. The contract is signed, settled, and binding. Let's see. The contract is tearing the man's life apart. It is causing him distress. It is possible that he may not even be able to approach the true death with such emotions churning in his mind. Mortai chews over it for a moment. It looks like you've negotiated him into a corner. I cannot. It is a matter of law, my friend. Besides, the burden lies upon their signer to overcome his own feelings in order to reach a true death. I cannot... Let's see. I cannot help is what he probably wants to say, but we cut him off before that happens. So, what you're saying is that you'll deny him the true death for the sake of a piece of parchment. Mortai sighs and holds up his hands as if to placate you. Look, it is not how you're making out to be. You obviously hold the philosophy of the dustman in contempt to damn a man's soul over a piece of paper. Do other members of your faction know your conduct in this regard? If not, they will soon. Mortai glares at you for a moment, opens his mouth, closes it, then opens it. By the 9 hells! Wait here! He drops his voice to a whisper, and keep your bone box latched. He gives an angry scowl and stomps off. Let's wait. A few seconds later, he returns. He is holding a dusty piece of parchment, which he gives to you. Here. He sniffs disdainfully. All for a man's peace of mind. Now be gone. Nettle me with your preachings no longer. I will leave, for now. Farewell, Mortai. Actually like that avenue that our nameless one took right there. That is definitely one of the more interesting ways to go about it. Fine, let's actually complete this before I go back here. There's still 2 more interesting people to talk to in here, I would think. But I'm gonna, first of all, go over here. It's apparently nighttime now. Let's see what we can do with this piece of parchment, shall we? Actually, before we do, can I read it? Mortuary reminder message. Let's just give the old parchments over to Mort. Receiving log page, receiving log book. Tome of Bone and Ash. How much can you carry? Wow, Mort can carry actually a lot apparently. Just giving you these things, dude. Bronze bracelet. Racks. Galpel. He has 5 more spaces. Iron Fist. Cobblestone. This is a polished cobblestone that was lodged in the zombie skull. It still has traces of brain matter dripping from it. Ah. Wait, why did I take that with me? Eh. Who cares? Needle and thread. And let's see. Engyr's death contract. This crisp parchment has a musty smell about it. Like it has been stored in an attic for too long. From what you can make out from the tiny, cramped writing, this document seems to be a contract between 2 parties, the Dustman faction and a man named Engyar. In exchange for 30 copper pieces, Engyar has signed away the rights to his corpse to the Dustmen, presumably so they can use him as a worker in the mortuary. 30 copper pieces is apparently enough for him to do that, and regret it afterwards. Hi. You see Engyar. He doesn't look any better than before. As you approach him again, he turns slowly to face you. His face tightens.
You again! Didn't you hear me the first time, you pox-ridden dog? Get out of my house, or so help me the powers. I'll carve you for where you stand.
Let's just show him the Dustman contract. As you pull out the contract, the blood drains out of Engyar's face. For a moment, he seems to be at a loss for words. Then his temper quickly resurfaces.
Where did you get that? By the powers, you'd best tell me.
Let's just tear up the contract.
Updated my journal.
You tear up the parchment and Engyar's eyes follow the bits of paper as they float to the ground with a desperate look. He shudders slightly, then straightens, as if a great weight has lifted from him. He looks like he is about to thank you, then stops and stares at you suspiciously.
Nothing's free. Not in the Hive, Cutter.
I like this one. Consider this free, and expect a lot of the rules in the Hive to change while I'm around. Engyar's angry expression crumbles. He looks tired of fighting his good fortune. I must have prayed to the right powers this past half-month, he sighs. You have my thanks, Cutter, for whatever that's worth. It's worth a great deal to me. Take care, Engyar.
Done.
I actually really like how that turned out. Alrighty, let's see. There's 2 more people that are interesting in here that we may want to talk to. I assume all the other dustmen will just... Oh, actually 3. Will not have anything. 4. Interesting to say. Awaiting death. Before you is a young dustman with stubble on his chin and dark circles beneath his eyes. He's staring at the wall with a somber expression. Greetings. The dustman looks up. Doesn't look up. He stares straight ahead, as if he's seeing something several leagues beyond the walls of the bar. Can I ask you some questions? The dustman doesn't respond. He keeps staring into the distance.
Alrighty then. Mort hisses at you. Let's go, Chief. This dusty might as well be fertilizer.
Fair enough, let's get out of here. As you turn to leave, the dustman suddenly speaks, his voice barely a murmur. You have to strain to hear the words. You think he said something about wanting to die. What did you say? The boy's expression does not flicker. Do you want to die? I don't know. I don't want to ask him whether he wants to die, because technically I know the answer already. But my answer is right now, I don't know. I don't know anything. And he just answers with, yes, he wants to die. Why don't you want to live? This is living. He bares his teeth, and his hands clench. This existence is a mockery of life. I do not wish to continue the charade any longer. Death is silent, comforting. Maybe after the first death. The dustman blinks, then sneers. The first death? What were you, resurrected? Would you like to see? I think the basic story is that if I die, I would basically be able to come back to him. But I actually don't know how that works mechanically yet. I have never died yet. I don't know. I've yet to see what lies beyond death and remember it. If I die again, perhaps then I could speak of it. The dustman blinks, then sneers. You lie. No man can die more than once, not without being resurrected by mighty magic. Resurrected? Resurrected, brought back to life. The magic required is indeed powerful. Who would be capable of such power? A powerful sorcerer or priest, or one of the powers, but not anyone I know. He frowns, and I don't believe you know anyone of that sort either. If I ever die and remember, I will return and speak of it to you. Then you may gauge whether I lie or not. Farewell. Alright. Interesting point.
Alright.
Alrighty. Noruchi. You see a spindly, thin dustman in dirty black robes. His stiff black hair springs forth from his skull like a crown of spikes, and his leopard-white skin is drawn sharply across his skull. He is frowning into his drink and mumbling to himself. Greetings. The dustman looks up, blinks once, then looks you up and down, studying you. As he studies you, he takes one of his spiked locks and points at himself with it. Norochi, initiate, dustman, guard. I'm here about the post. Oh! He's the guy where he may have some quest for us. I'm here about the posting outside. The dustman looks you up and down. Many troubles have I. Help can you? A mausoleum awakens, the dead walk, the dead disturbed, the dustman disturbed. Find out what disturbs the undead, and copper coins will I pay. Very well. Where is this mausoleum?
Updated my journal.
Norochi nods. Mausoleum by Dustman Memorial. Go north and west from the Black Monument. Go to arch and a semicircle over your heart with this finger at his make. He wiggles the index finger in his right hand. To the mausoleum go you will. I'll look into it then. Farewell. Oh, I guess we just gained a key. A key to enter the mausoleum. Fair enough. Let's see. Sarah the Skeptic. As you approach, the elderly woman turns and stares at you. Ah, look who's calling on Sarah today. Death's dearest son. She looks you up and down and shakes her head in disbelief. By every power in this mother boy, what crypt did you crawl out of? I'm fresh from the mortuary, actually.
That's so. Sarah raises an eyebrow. Weren't my ears to hear he gave that place the laugh, boy? Not much of watering hole for one who isn't really relieving themselves. She sniffs. Too many cobwebs and dusty minds.
You don't like the mortuary? Aren't you a dustman?
A dustman, I suppose. Sarah sniffs. I've seen enough sand pass through the hourglass while wearing these ropes. This body's almost ready to pay the ferryman. She chuckles, but there's not much mirth in it.
Are you afraid of dying?
Course I am, boy. Who isn't? She frowns and glances around. Well, except dustmen. They're not afraid because they've been swallowing so much of their own bat droppings over the decades they've blinded themselves into thinking that death is some kind of release. Tch.
So, what sparked this crisis of faith?
She shrugs. Life, I suppose.
She frowns.
Never mind. I won't bore you with the niggling details.
I'd like to know, actually.
Oh, would you? She looks at you skeptically. Tch. How old you take me for, boy?
Old.
She snorts. Well, you're wrong. I'm really old. Now, I spent most of my long years teaching dustmen. I've seen many dustman whelps grow within our order, taught them the ways of the faction, kept the faith, preached the tenets of the faction. She frowns. And so on and so on. No questions, no doubt. This life was merely antechamber that led to the true death.
Well, what happened?
Well, a half month back, I went sick with the fever. She sighs. I thought it was the end. It rattled my cage.
Ow.
Her face becomes a stone. There's something about having your faction members circle around your deathbed like a pack of pale-faced ghouls, nodding and agreeing that your suffering and dying is all for the best. Oh, Sarah is so fortunate. She shall soon be relieved of the burden of life. Burden of life. That's when it struck me. That there's something... A queer expression comes over her features. Adult about not appreciating your life. The dustman keeps saying that life is a misery and suffering. Is it? That we should be happy to pass on into oblivion? Should we?
She shakes her head.
Questions, and precious few answers.
It doesn't sound like you believe in the dustman philosophy anymore.
I suppose I have got a swarm of doubts all buzzing in my skull. She rubs her temples. Hard to get them all to be quiet sometimes. They need to be fed some answers, and I haven't got all of them worked out yet.
Well, what will you do?
To be square, boy, I don't know. That's the problem with doubt. I can't trust what I'm feeling is true, or if I'm scared of death only because of my brush with the fever, or even what I should do. Is this a passing thing? I don't know.
Alright, chat, what should we answer here?
This is an interesting conundrum. Like, do we want to reassure her that the dustman people have a good idea? That this is just a temporary outset? Or reinforce the concept that, hey, maybe life is worth living? Because who knows? Maybe in Sigil, the dustmen aren't correct. Then again, there's portals to every plane. Maybe in other places it would be nicer. But also, she has kind of spent most of her life doing this. Will she regret that? Maybe it would be nicer for her to just kind of stick with it for now, because can't have a midlife crisis at the end of your life. Because it's not the middle anymore. So basically, what does my gut tell me? I don't like number 2. I'm gonna go with number 1. Sarah, if you had truly believed in the Dustman philosophy, then your brush with the thief would not have left you with such doubts. Sarah stares at you, then nods slowly. Maybe so. Maybe so. She frowns, her face wrinkling up in concentration. I'll have to chew over it some more. You should. It's no small matter. Now, enough of me rattling about my woes. Sarah stares at your scars. Look like you've shared a few handshakes with death yourself. Hasn't that changed your views somewhat? Doesn't it make you appreciate life a bit more? Well, my condition is unique. I woke up in the mortuary. I think they mistook me for a corpse and were prepared to bury me. The strange thing is, I think I actually had died, and got better. Sarah blinks. You're rattling my coffin. It's true. Strange are the ways of the plains, and I've seen too much to throw any tale out of with the wash. She studies your faith. If it's true, why does this happen? All I know is I woke up in the mortuary with no memory, and covered with enough wounds to kill me 3 times over. No, don't be saying that too loud. She glances around. Most peculiar. Never heard of anything like that. Shame about the memories. Do you have any idea why this happens? Nay, not a one. Never knew anyone who death wouldn't take. Until now. Well, perhaps I could ask you some other questions. Questions, eh? All I can ask. Sarah looks at you with a steely eye, then smiles. Crypt crawler? Oh. Have you seen a journal recently? I'm missing mine. I've basically kind of been avoiding this question because I assume Farrett has the journal, but technically some of the dustmen might have actually some information about it. Because it's not a given that Farrett has taken everything. Because he did actually leave a bunch of stuff on other corpses. What does it look like? No idea. You don't know what it looks like, how will you expect to find it? I'm beginning to wonder that myself. Alrighty, I wanted to ask you about some of the dustmen in particular. No harm in it. What's on your mind? One of the embalmers in the mortuary, Irene. Do you know her? Who? A strange young woman, poor eyesight, near death, talents for hands. Sarah shakes her head. Maybe she's a new initiate. I've never heard of her. I wonder how new she is. For all I know, she might have been one of my previous followers. Interesting that she is that new. Very well, can I ask you about some other ones? Let's see. I met a guy at the mortuary, Soego. Do you know him? That boy used to be a regular around here. Don't know what happened to him. Could be he was shaken up after his friend died. Oh, explain. One of his friends was killed in the Hive a few weeks ago, torn apart by rats. She shakes her head. Messy business. Oh, has Soego always been a guide at the mortuary? No, only for the past few months. And last I heard, he was just sent off for some missionary duty, but I don't know where. Alrighty, let's just ask about all of them. I met a scribe named Dahl at the mortuary. Do you know him? T. Dahl? He was my instructor in the philosophical arts during my early training at the mortuary, and a crusty fool to boot. He's ill, to my ears tell me. I bet he'll be even bore to death with his presence. Is he dying? Tch, sicker than a spotted dog he is. Not much sand left in his hourglass for him. That makes sense, which is nothing new, I suppose. Tell me about awaiting death. Awaiting death? That boy has half the sins of a jackass. He actually wants to die, and him so young too. I wish death would rattle his cage, teach him a few things. Interesting. Can you tell me about Mortai? Mortai? Ha! I thought you were going to ask about the dustman. She spits. There's no dustman who's less dustman than jinx-smacking bone-box rattling lackwit. What do you mean? Mortai's so anxious to impress his betters by getting the most debt contracts signed that I wonder if he'll ever be a dustman. I don't understand. He's eager to get contracts signed, boy. He's concerned about his reputation. He's thinking of his career in the dustman. That alone says it all. I still don't understand. It's said that passions kill. Sarah snorts. Tch, for dustmen, it's the opposite. Passions keep you alive, and if you can't strip yourself of passions, whether eagerness, greed or ambition, then you're doomed to never truly die, because life will always hold a piece of you. How about Emoric? That stone-faced fool, I taught him, you know, and I used to hold the man in high regard. Then I woke up. He's a crusty old ghoul that sits here in his off hours to make sure the younger dustmen have a symbol of authority here in this bar. She mumbles, old vulture. I see, I think we have asked about all of them now. Have some other questions, maybe? Well, I didn't crawl out of any crypt. She frowns, her face wrinkling like crumpled parchment. Right then, what coffin did you crawl out of? She mumbles. One of those shoddy splint coffins at Hamrace. Most like. Gives corpses splinters, I hear. She sniffs. That boy's not been worth a clipped copper since his father's died. I didn't crawl out of a coffin either. Who's Hamrace? Hamrace is a coffin breaker. Pardon, coffin maker. In the lower ward. Inherited the shop when his father died, much to the shame of every corpse needing a coffin, crypt, or a tombstone in sigil. What happened to his father? Those ears just for show, boy. He died, she mumbles. His son talked him to death, most likely. That boy's tongue doesn't stop rattling. I'm surprised he doesn't shake his head loose from his shoulders. You two sound like you have a lot in common then. She narrows her eyes. Do us both a favor and latch that bone box of yours, boy. Don't be drawing comms between me and that yapping whelp. Very well, I had some other questions. I didn't crawl out of any crypt or coffins. She smiles, revealing a row of uneven teeth. All right, boy. What sarcophagus did you crawl out of? She stops and chuckles to herself. Just ripping you, Bo. No harm meant. You do look like Death's own, though. Alrighty, sorry to bother you. Farewell. That's an interesting personality. I wonder whether she has more to say after we talk to old Copper Eyes here. Before you is a tall, silent figure. He could easily pass for a statue, although the deep furrows on his face and brow make you wonder if the sculptor was a little too eager in defining the face with the chisel. He looks well over 50 years old, but exactly how much over 50, it's hard to tell. As he slowly turns to look at you, you catch the dull sheen of copper in his eyes. Greetings. Old Copper Eyes stares at you. His eyes are difficult to make out past the black well of his eye sockets, but they look to have a coppery sheen about them. I have some questions. He says nothing. Ah, never mind. Very well. Curious whether Serno has something to say about him. I have some questions. I want to ask about one of the dustbins in particular. Yeah, now we can talk. Ask about Copper Eyes. What's up with him? Don't know much about that one. He's a strange blood. He never moves from that spot. Never eats, never drinks, just waits. She shivers slightly. Makes me uneasy. Alrighty. Interesting. And she's just drinking stuff. Wonder whether that zombie worker has anything in particular to say. These bubbling tanks are dispensing their contents into wooden kegs. There's a faint smell of vinegar in the air. This female corpse is dressed in a heavy burlap shirt covered with food and wine stains. Her lips have been stitched closed and her arms and legs are wrapped in several layers of bandages. The bandages seem to have been soaked in preservatives to keep the corpse fresh. As a result, the corpse's rotting odor has been replaced with equally repulsive vinegar smell. Alright, leave the corpse alone. As you turn away, you notice Mort staring at you. Eh? Eh? What is it? Did you see the way that cadaverous beauty was staring at me? Mort's teeth chatter, as if in anticipation. She was looking for some lucky cutter to thaw her coughing. Please, don't start this again. Mort ignores you and becomes thoughtful. I don't really mind the attention, actually. It's just that I like to be seen as something more than just a skull, you know. I have feelings that go beyond my base animal instincts. I want courtship, not some fortnight fling around the Mausoleum. I understand. Now let's get out of here, alright? And there's more rags in here. Why would I grab rags? I don't know, I already have some. I can just stack them on top of the others. Updated my journal. Alrighty, so there's certainly something. So the Mausoleum, you should be able to get to now.
I'm gone.
I'm gone. Sorry. So we are supposed to figure out what's in here, going on in here, right? Jesus. That was loud. Yep. Now that we have the gesture, or specifically, I suppose, the key, we can go in here. Guardian Spirit. This spectral figure materializes from the gloom of the passageway ahead and quickly moves to block your path. It flows before you, its once human features twisted in the mask of rage. Defilers! Leave this place at once! Greetings. Leave now! Its booming voice echoes down the halls. This place is forbidden to the living. Leave while you still can. I have some questions first. Seek your answers elsewhere. This place is a sanctuary for the dead. I shall not permit their slumber to be disturbed by the intrusion of yet another insolent mortal. Another? Has someone else been here? If you must know, yes. There is another intruder who even now continues to violate the sanctity of these hallowed halls. The anger in the spirit's voice fades. He seems somewhat saddened by the admission. The souls of my brothers and sisters cry out for peace. Who is this intruder? He is an evil coward who wields great power over the dead. He seeks something within these halls. What it might be, or what this purpose is seeking, I cannot say. Why don't you drive this intruder away? I cannot. The coward has sealed himself within the inner chamber of the Mausoleum. He has erected powerful wards that bar my entrance into the chamber. It is from there that he calls upon his dark arts to waken my brethren and bends them to his evil will. Sounds to me like you need the help of one intruder to get rid of another. The spirit remains silent for several long moments. You can almost feel the weight of his lifeless gaze upon you. Yes, you might prevail where I have failed.
If you pledge to rid me of this blackguard, I shall grant you passage. What do you say?
I'll do it.
Updated my journal.
So be it. The spirit slowly begins to fade, until only the echoing of its disembodied voice remains. But take heed. Tread lightly in these halls, lest you join the others in eternal rest. Well, we have entered the Mausoleum, and it does look decently large. This also explains as to why I couldn't enter it earlier. We needed to have the key. So, I guess considering that the key was basically a gesture, anybody just observing somebody else would be able to enter here. Just a thought. Either way, I think this might be a good stopping point before we go any further. We have explored the, well, Hive area for now. We have checked out the Dustman Bar, actually even completed a little side mission and helped out a dude by destroying the contract that he was bound and burdened by. And well, there might be more things in the Mausoleum that we can check out now. So, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening and for
I'm
lurking.
gone.
Hope you enjoyed your stay. I hope you enjoyed being around and, well, hopefully until next time. Take care and have a good night. It's actually quite fascinating, my mouse cursor is showing over there, even though it's actually not on my screen. Take care, everybody.